Hello and welcome to today's video where we're going to be installing an aftermarket exhaust on an ND Mazda Miata. Now, exhaust installs are fairly easy, but I do have a few specialty tools linked down below that make this job a little bit easier. Also, these NDs have a pretty unique exhaust gasket that could sometimes be reused, but sometimes can't. So again, check that down in the description in case you need it. Today, we're installing a Goodwin Racing race exhaust on this car, which should shed a good amount of weight off and hopefully add some power. If you're interested in how much this exhaust actually makes the car faster, I have a separate video on that linked below. First thing we're gonna do is lift up the rear of the car so we get access to the exhaust. I'd highly recommend putting 2x4s or some other sort of wheel chock in front of your tires so your car can't roll forward. Now we're gonna get our jack under the back of the car and lift it up. There's a subframe cross member under there that's a really solid area to put the jack on and lift up the car. Now we're gonna get our jack stands under the car to support it while we put our exhaust on. I personally like to put these jack stands under the rear of the frame rails, but you also can use the pinch welds if you want. With something like this, you should look at your owner's manual and decide the best way to do it for you. That right there is the subframe jack point that I use. I'm actually able to leave this jack under here, just keep this a little bit safer. And then there's where I'm putting the jack stands. This exhaust has 2 bolts right on here. I'm gonna take these off and see how this comes apart because there is a spring on there. And then there are 2 hangers on this side and 1 over on the other side. All right, now you could get a 14mm wrench or socket, and we're gonna get these nuts off of these stones. All right, ready? All right, so this one's pretty damn stuck on there. So I'm gonna get my bigger impact gun. Now we're gonna get these exhaust hangers off. To do that, I'm gonna soak these things down so there's a little bit of lubrication on there, but I might end up needing to use soap to get those off. Now I'm gonna use my exhaust hanger tool to get on there like this and see if I could pry that hanger off of the exhaust. It is going. All right, that exhaust hanger tool actually worked really well. That was really easy. I would recommend a little bit of soap on there though, so I'm gonna do that with the next one. All right, so this time I'm gonna use a little bit of soap. So I'm just gonna put some dish soap, whoops, right on my arm. Try to get that right onto the hanger here. Got a lot of that on there. Gonna get a little water on there. And now, hopefully this one goes a little bit easier. Not that that other one was bad, this tool does help a lot, but we'll get this on there and see if we could get that hanger to go. And yeah, this does actually feel much, much easier with the soap. So easy, I actually took the whole hanger with me. Here you can see the stock exhaust next to the Goodwin Racing race exhaust. And as you can see, the race exhaust is a lot smaller. It's also a lot less restrictive. So as you can see, this has the massive muffler between the entry point and the exit point of the exhaust, whereas that one is basically a straight through. In testing that Goodwin published, they said that that exhaust should add 7 to 8 horsepower. I am doing my own test on my other channel, Cashed Out Cars, where I'm seeing if that is actually correct. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and check that out. All right, so next thing we're gonna do is replace this exhaust gasket here. Goodwin recommends replacing this if the gasket has over like 20,000 miles or so, or if it looks worn. I'm gonna see if I could get this old one off. I don't know if it necessarily needs to be replaced. This car has about 60K on it, but I'm gonna see if I could get it off regardless, since I do have a replacement. There we go. Next thing we're going to do is use a wire brush and a screwdriver to clean up the sealing surface on this flange right here. Mine definitely has some rust on it, and there's a bit of remnants from the old gasket right here. So I'm going to go ahead and use this wire brush and try to get that as clean as possible. Here's the new gasket next to the old one. I do have this part linked down below. I want to take a second to do a little bit of self-promotion. If you love the Mazda Miata like I do, I have a bunch of stuff that I've designed down in the description below that you could pick up. If you check those out, it helps support the channel and I would really appreciate it. Now let's get back into it. Now I'm going to get the new exhaust gasket and slide that down underneath this part of the exhaust. Just going to gently tap it. And that should tighten down the rest of the way into place once I get that next exhaust on. Now we're going to prepare our exhaust hangers up here for the new exhaust. This one came off, so I got to slip this one back on and into place. And then I'm going to put a little bit of soap on both of these hangers, actually on this side right here, so it's ready to receive that new exhaust. Now I'm going to get the new exhaust into place here and slide it up into these hangers. All right, that's one side. All right, so now we're gonna get the rest of the exhaust into place. All that really entails is lining up those flanges there and then getting this last exhaust hanger on. That exhaust is all in place. Now I need to get the bolts through. All right, so now we could try to get this exhaust bolt here back in place. All right, and just like that, the flange is tight. You are able to reuse these fasteners here, which is really nice. This nut didn't come off on ours, it just threaded straight into the flange on the exhaust back here. All right, guys, so now we got that exhaust on the car, and we could start it up and see how it sounds, and then we could see if this thing actually added any speed and performance to this car.